Commander Vextel stood on the bridge of the Stellar Inquiry, watching the blue planet grow larger on the viewing screen. His 6 arms moved across the control panels with practiced ease. The planet looked so peaceful from space. Green and blue swirled together, with white clouds floating above. It was hard to believe this world held any real threats. "Commander," Dr. Crindle spoke from her station. Her voice carried the careful tone she used when giving reports. "I have finished studying the human signals we captured. These creatures are very strange." Vextel turned his large head toward her. His golden eyes showed mild interest. "Strange how?" "They send messages about their feelings. They worry about individual members of their species. They even cry when their companions die." Crindle touched her datapad with one thin finger. "No warrior race acts this way. They are weak." The bridge crew made sounds of agreement. "Zephyrians were born warriors. They lived for battle and glory. The idea of crying for the dead seemed foolish. The weak died so the strong could live. This was the way of the universe." "What about their technology?" Vexthal asked. "Basic, very basic." Crindle pulled up images on the main screen. "They use chemical rockets to move between their planets. Their weapons shoot metal bullets. They have not even learned to bend space for travel." Lieutenant Morduck laughed from his position at the weapons station. "They fight with metal bullets? We should be done with this conquest in one day." Vexthal nodded slowly. The Zephyrian Confederation had been expanding across the galaxy for 300 years. They had defeated dozens of worlds. Most species surrendered after seeing their ships. Those who fought were crushed quickly. These humans would be no different. "Begin the operation," Vexthal commanded. "Take one of their patrol ships. We need prisoners for study." The Stellar Inquiry moved silently through space. Its cloaking field hid it from human sensors. Near the giant planet the humans called Jupiter, they found what they were looking for. A small human ship moved between the planet and its moons. It was tiny compared to their vessel. "3 humans aboard," reported the scanner officer. "The ship has light armor and basic weapons." "Disable it," Vexthal ordered. One blast from their capture beam stopped the human ship. The small vessels. Engines went dead. Emergency lights flickered on inside. Through the viewing ports, they could see the humans moving around in panic. "Bring them aboard," Vexthal said. The human ship was pulled into the Stellar Inquiry's docking bay. Zephyrian soldiers surrounded it quickly. When the humans came out, they had their hands raised in surrender. This surprised the Zephyrians. Most species fought even when defeat was certain. The 3 humans were brought to the bridge. They looked small and weak compared to the tall Zephyrians. Their skin was pale and soft. They had only 2 arms each. Their eyes were tiny and showed fear. "I am Lieutenant Jake Morrison," the tallest human said. His voice shook, but he kept his head up. "These are my crew members, Tony Blake and Maria Santos. We demand to know why you have taken us prisoner." Vexthal studied the human with interest. Even afraid, the creature tried to protect his companions. "You are prisoners of war. Your planet will surrender to the Zephyrian Confederation." Jake's eyes grew wide. "War? We haven't declared war on anyone." "We have declared war on you," Vexthal replied. "Your species will serve the Confederation or die." Maria stepped forward. She was smaller than the males, but her voice was steady. "Our people will never surrender. We have fought for freedom for thousands of years." Dr. Crindle made notes on her datapad. "Interesting. The female speaks of fighting, but look at her. She is tiny and weak. How can such creatures be warriors?" The humans were taken to holding cells. Over the next few days, Dr. Crindle studied them. She watched how they acted and listened to their words. What she found confused her. The humans cared about each other in ways that made no sense. Jake asked about his crew's health before his own. Maria shared her food with Tony when he seemed hungry. They told stories to keep each other's spirits up. They form emotional bonds, Crindle reported to Vexthal. These bonds make them weak. They will sacrifice themselves for others. We can use this against them. But there were other things that troubled her. When the humans thought no one was watching, they studied their prison carefully. They tested the strength of the walls. They counted the guards. They whispered to each other in codes. Jake Morrison was the most interesting. Under questioning, he gave information freely. He told them about human military forces and weapon systems. He explained how human society worked. He even drew maps of human bases. See? Vexthal said to his officers. The human breaks easily. Their emotional weakness makes them poor soldiers. But Dr. Crindle noticed something strange. When Jake gave information, his heart rate stayed normal. Most creatures' hearts beat faster when they were afraid or lying. Jake's heart beat the same whether he was scared or calm. The first real test came when they reached Earth's moon. A human military base sat on the surface. It was small compared to Zephyrian fortresses. The humans had built it into the rock for protection. We will destroy it easily, Lieutenant Mordock said. Their weapons cannot hurt our ships. Vexthal ordered the attack. Energy beams struck the human base. The outer walls cracked and air rushed out. Human soldiers ran for cover. It looked like the base would fall quickly. And something unexpected happened. The humans did not surrender. Instead, they began firing back. Their weapons were primitive, but they aimed well. More importantly, they coordinated their attacks. Each human seemed to know exactly what the others would do. How are they doing this? Mordock asked as human missiles struck their ship's shields. Captain. Lisa Hayes appeared on their communication screen. She was a middle-aged human woman with short gray hair. Her face showed no fear, only determination. This is Captain Hayes of Luna Base, she said. You have attacked a peaceful research station. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. Vexthal laughed. You are outnumbered and outgunned. Surrender now and your people will live. Lisa's expression did not change. We don't surrender. We adapt. The communication ended. The humans continued fighting. What bothered Vexthal was how organized they were. Even as their base fell apart around them, they worked together perfectly. It was like watching a single creature with many bodies. Commander, Dr. Crindle said quietly, I think we may have made an error. What kind of error? These humans are not weak. They are something else. Something we do not understand. As the battle continued, Vexthal began to see what she meant. The humans fought with a skill that seemed impossible for such primitive creatures. They used their environment as a weapon. They turned their own base into a trap, luring Zephyrian soldiers into areas where they could be ambushed. Most disturbing of all, they seemed to learn from each attack. Every time the Zephyrians tried the same tactic twice, the humans were ready for it. When the battle finally ended, the human base was destroyed. But it had taken much longer than expected, and the humans had hurt the Zephyrians more than any enemy had in years. Prepare the fleet, Vexthal ordered. We will need more ships for this conquest. Dr. Crindle made more notes. She had a feeling. They were going to need much more than ships. They were going to need a new understanding of what it meant to be human. 3 months had passed since the first battle at Luna Base. Commander, Vexthal now commanded a fleet of 50 ships instead of 1. The Zephyrian High Command had sent reinforcements after hearing about the human resistance. They still expected an easy victory. Mars colonies ahead, reported the navigation officer. 7 human settlements on the planet's surface. Vexthal studied the tactical display. The human colonies looked small and poorly defended. Each one had maybe 1,000 people. Their weapons were the same primitive type they had seen before. Major Kikmer, Vexthal called to his ground forces commander. Take your troops and secure the colonies. Try to take prisoners. We need to understand these humans better. Major Zikmer was a veteran warrior. He had conquered planets across the galaxy. His troops were the best the Confederation had. It will be done quickly, Commander. The assault began at dawn on Mars. Zephyrian dropships landed near the human colonies. The aliens expected to see panic and chaos. Instead, they found something strange. The humans were ready for them. Colonel Ryan Beck watched the alien ships land through his binoculars. He was a Special Forces commander who had been sent to Mars just weeks before. His weathered face showed no surprise at the attack. All units. This is Wolverine. He spoke into his radio. The enemy has arrived. Execute Plan Delta. Across the Martian landscape, human soldiers moved to prepared positions. They had been working for months to get ready for this moment. Every rock, every building, every piece of equipment had been turned into part of their defense. The Zephyrians advanced on the first colony. Their sensors showed hundreds of humans inside the buildings. It should have been easy to capture them. But as soon as the aliens entered the settlement, the humans vanished. Where did they go? Zikmer demanded as his troops searched empty buildings. Answer came in the form of explosions. The humans had planted bombs throughout the colony. But these were not random explosions. They were carefully timed to drive the Zephyrians into specific areas. Sergeant Amy Cross crouched in a hidden bunker beneath the colony. She had been a demolitions expert in the human military for 15 years. Her job was to make the aliens dance to her tune. Left side clear, she whispered into her radio. Sending them to you, Ryan. The Zephyrians found themselves pushed into a narrow canyon between two hills. It seemed like the only safe way to go. They did not realize it was exactly where the humans wanted them. Colonel Beck and his men waited in hidden positions on both sides of the canyon. They had been there for hours, perfectly still. When the aliens walked into the trap, the humans opened fire. The Zephyrians were caught completely off guard. Their superior technology meant nothing when they could not see their enemies. The humans used the terrain perfectly, firing from positions that gave them cover while exposing the aliens. Retreat, Zikmer ordered. Fall back to the ships. But retreating proved just as dangerous as advancing. The humans had prepared for this too. More explosions blocked the aliens' path back to their landing site. They were forced to take a longer route, giving the humans more time to set up new ambushes. Dr. Pete Walsh had been a combat medic before the war started. Now he fought alongside the soldiers, using his medical knowledge in new ways. He knew exactly where to hit the aliens to cause maximum damage. Their nervous system is different from ours, he explained to his squad. Hit them here, and they lose control of their legs. Hit them there, and they cannot use their weapons. The humans learned quickly. Each captured alien weapon was studied and copied. Each prisoner was questioned carefully. The humans gathered information like they were collecting treasure. Meanwhile, something else was happening that worried the Zephyrians. The humans were talking to each other constantly. Not just military communications, but personal messages. They shared stories about their families. They talked about their hopes and fears. At first, the aliens thought this was a weakness. The humans were distracted by emotions. But Dr. Crindle noticed something different when she studied the intercepted messages. They are not just talking, she reported to Vexthal. They are sharing tactical information. When one human learns something about us, they all know it within. Ours. How is that possible? Vexthal asked. They disguise military data as personal messages. A human saying, "I miss you," to his mate might really be telling her about our troop movements. A mother talking to her child might be passing along information about our weapons. This revelation disturbed Vexthil greatly. The humans were using their emotional bonds as a communication network. Every human was a spy, every conversation a potential intelligence briefing. The war on Mars continued for weeks. The Zephyrians had superior firepower and better technology. They should have won easily. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at once. The humans did not fight like any other species the Zephyrians had encountered. They did not try to hold territory or protect important buildings. Instead, they moved constantly, hitting the aliens where they were weakest and disappearing before reinforcements could arrive. They fight like ghosts, complained one Zephyrian officer. We destroy their positions, but they are never there when we arrive. Major Ziegmer was beginning to understand something troubling. The humans were not just fighting to survive. They were fighting to learn. Every battle taught them something new about Zephyrian tactics and technology. They are studying us, he told Vexthil during one of their planning sessions. Each attack is designed to test our responses. They are learning how we think. The proof came when the Zephyrians tried a new tactic. They launched a surprise attack on a human supply depot. The plan was perfect. The timing was exact. There was no way the humans could have prepared for it. But when the alien troops reached the depot, they found it empty except for a single human soldier. It was a young woman who did not look like a warrior. She stood calmly in the center of the building, her hands at her sides. You are under arrest, Ziegmer told her through his translator. The woman smiled. No, Major, you are. The building exploded around them. The human had been standing on a pressure plate that held back dozens of bombs. When she moved, the entire depot became a weapon. But the woman had not committed suicide. In the confusion of the explosion, she vanished into hidden tunnels beneath the building. The Zephyrians found themselves trapped in a burning structure, while the human escaped to fight another day. How did she know we were coming? Ziegmer demanded of his intelligence officers. The answer came from an unexpected source. Jake Morrison, the human prisoner they had captured months ago, asked to speak with Vexthil. He had been cooperative since his capture, answering questions and providing information. Commander, Jake said when they met in the interrogation room, I need to tell you something important. Something about my people. What is it? Vexthil asked. Jake's expression was serious. We have been watching you since you first arrived in our solar system. Everything I told you about our defenses, our weapons, our strategies, it was all wrong. We wanted you to underestimate us. Vexthil felt a chill run through his body. You have been lying? Not lying, misdirecting. We told you what we wanted. You to know. We let you think we were weak and emotional. But the truth is, we are something else entirely. What are you? Vexthil whispered. Jake stood up slowly. His movements were calm and controlled. We are the species that survived in a world where everything tried to kill us. We learned to work together or die alone. We learned to adapt or be destroyed. You will still lose this war, Vexthil said, but his voice lacked conviction. Jake smiled, and for the first time, Vexthil saw something frightening in the human's eyes. Commander, you still do not understand. We are not trying to win this war. We are trying to understand you. And once we understand you completely, the war will be over. That night, Vexthil stood on his ship's bridge, looking down at Mars. The planet's surface was dotted with fires from the ongoing battles. His forces held most of the major positions, but the humans continued to resist. Dr. Crindle approached him quietly. Commander, I have been studying the human prisoners. I have learned something disturbing. What? They are not afraid of death. They are afraid of failure. They do not fear pain. They fear letting their companions down. This is not weakness. This is a different kind of strength. Vexthel nodded slowly. He was beginning to understand that they had made a terrible mistake. They had thought the humans were weak because they cared about each other. But caring was not weakness. It was what made them dangerous. "Prepare for the next phase," he ordered, "and send a message to High Command. Tell them we need more ships. Many more ships." As the stars wheeled overhead, the war continued on Mars, but something had changed. The Zephyrians were no longer confident of victory. They were beginning to realize that they had awakened something they did not understand, something that might be more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The war had been going on for 6 months now. Commander Vexthel no longer stood confidently on his bridge. His golden eyes showed worry as he studied the tactical reports. The humans were not behaving like any enemy he had ever faced. "Sir?" His communications officer called out. "We are receiving a message from the human leadership on Earth." The main screen flickered to life. General Alex Stone appeared, sitting calmly behind a metal desk. He was an older human with gray hair and tired eyes. Behind him, Vexthel could see other humans working at computer stations. "Commander Vexthel," General Stone said, "I believe we need to talk." "There is nothing to discuss," Vexthel replied. "Surrender now, and your people will be treated fairly." General Stone smiled, but it was not a pleasant smile. "I am not calling to surrender. I am calling to give you a warning. You have been fighting us for months, but you have not seen what we are truly capable of. You are a primitive species with inferior technology," Vexthel said. "We have defeated dozens of worlds stronger than yours." "Have you?" General Stone asked. "Let me show you something." The screen changed to show a Zephyrian supply ship. It was one of their own vessels, traveling between Mars and their fleet. As they watched, the ship suddenly stopped moving. Its engines went dead. "That is impossible," Vexthel said. "Your weapons cannot reach that far." "We are not using weapons," General Stone replied. "We are using your own technology against you." "Dr. Emma Ford, would you like to explain?" A human woman appeared on the screen next to General Stone. She was young with dark hair and intelligent eyes. "Commander, we have been studying your technology since the first day you arrived. We have learned how your ships work, how your weapons function, how your computers think." Dr. Ford held up a small device. "This is a virus designed specifically for Zephyrian computer systems. We have been planting it in your ships every time you capture one of our vessels. It spreads through your network like a disease." Vexthel felt his blood turn cold. "You are lying, am I?" Dr. Ford touched the device. Across the fleet, warning lights began flashing on dozens of ships. Computer systems started shutting down one by one. "How?" Vexthel whispered. "Every human you have captured has been carrying microtransmitters," General Stone explained. "Every time you interrogate one of our people, they plant these devices in your ships. You thought you were learning about us, but we were learning about you." The screen changed again. This time it showed Captain Troy Mills, a human pilot who had been captured 2 weeks ago. He was supposed to be in a Zephyrian prison cell. Instead, he was standing in what looked like a Zephyrian control room. "Hello, Commander," Troy said cheerfully. "I hope you do not mind that I borrowed one of your ships. I needed to test some new modifications." "Impossible," Vexthel said. "You were locked in a security cell?" "Was I?" Troy held up his hands. His wrists showed marks from restraints, but he was clearly free. "Your locks are very good, but humans have been escaping from prisons for thousands of years. We have gotten quite skilled at it." Behind Troy, other humans were working at Zephyrian control stations. They had not just escaped from prison. They had taken over an entire ship. "You see, Commander," General Stone said, "we have been fighting each other for our entire history. We know every trick, every strategy, every way to hurt an enemy. But we also know something else. We know how to make an enemy into a friend." "What are you talking about?" Vexthal demanded. "War Leader Grixtel," General Stone called out. "Would you like to join us?" A Zephyrian appeared on the screen. Vexthal recognized him immediately. Grixtal was a respected military commander who had been captured by humans 3 months ago. "Commander Vexthal," Grixtal said, "I must tell you something important. The humans are not what we thought." "You are a traitor," Vexthal accused. "No," Grixtal replied. "I am a realist. These humans saved my life when I was wounded. They treated my injuries and fed me when I was hungry. They showed me kindness when they could have shown me death." "It is a trick," Vexthal said. "Is it?" Grixtal asked. "They have taught me about their history. They have fought wars that lasted for centuries. They have created weapons that could destroy entire planets. But they have also created art, music, and literature. They are capable of great destruction and great creation." Dr. Crindle stepped forward on the bridge. "Commander, I have been studying the human prisoners. What I have learned is disturbing. They do not see war as we do." "Explain," Vexthal ordered. 2. U.S. War is about victory and defeat. To humans, war is about problem solving. They fight not because they enjoy it, or because they want the fighting to stop. They are willing to do terrible things to achieve peace. General Stone nodded on the screen. "Dr. Crindle is correct. We have been studying your species for months. We know your weaknesses, your fears, your desires. We could destroy you completely if we wanted to. Then why do you not?" Vexthal asked. "Because destruction is not our goal," General Stone replied. "We want to understand why you attacked us. We want to know if you can be reasoned with. We want to find a way to end this war without destroying both our species." The screen changed one more time. This time it showed a human military base on Earth. But something was wrong with the image. The base was empty. No soldiers, no weapons, no defenses. "Where are your forces?" Vexthal asked. "That is the wrong question," General Stone said. "The right question is, where are they not?" Suddenly, Vexthal understood. The humans had not been defending their bases. They had been abandoning them. Their entire military had gone into hiding, scattered across thousands of worlds and asteroids. "You have been fighting shadows," General Stone continued. "Every base you have captured, every position you have taken, we gave to you deliberately. We wanted you to think you were winning while we prepared for the real war." "What real war?" Vexthal asked. "The war we are about to begin," General Stone replied. "We have studied your technology, your tactics, your psychology. We have learned everything we need to know. Now we are going to show you what humans are truly capable of." The communication ended. Vexthal stood alone on his bridge, surrounded by flashing warning lights and the sound of failing systems. His fleet was scattered across the solar system, their computers infected with human viruses. "Commander," Dr. Crindle said quietly, "I have been thinking about what the humans said, about making enemies into friends. What about it? They showed kindness to War Leader Grixtel. They treated his wounds and fed him. Why would they do that if they planned to destroy us?" Vexthal did not answer. He was thinking about Jake Morrison, the first human they had captured. Jake had been cooperative from the beginning, answering questions and providing information. But now Vexthal realized that Jake had been controlling what information he received. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "we are receiving messages from across the fleet. Ship commanders are reporting that their human prisoners have escaped, but they are not trying to leave the ships. What are they doing? Vexthal asked. They are helping to repair the damage from the computer virus. They are working alongside our crews to fix the systems. Vexthal felt a chill run through his body. The humans were not just escaping from prison. They were integrating themselves into Zephyrian society. They were making themselves useful, making themselves necessary. This is psychological warfare, he said. They are trying to make us dependent on them. Or, Dr. Crindle suggested, they are trying to show us that we do not have to be enemies. On the screen, new images appeared. Human ships were approaching from all directions. But these were not the primitive vessels they had seen before. These ships were built using hybrid technology, combining human engineering with captured Zephyrian systems. Incoming message. The communications officer reported. General. Stone appeared on the screen again. This time he was not alone. Beside him stood War Leader Grixtal and several other Zephyrian officers. Commander, General Stone said, we are going to give you a choice. You can continue this war and watch both our species destroy each other. Or you can join us in building something better. What are you offering? Vexthal asked. Partnership, General Stone replied. We have learned that there are other threats in the galaxy. Species that seek to destroy rather than create. We propose that humans and Zephyrians work together to face these threats. You would trust us after we attacked you? Vexthal asked. We would trust you because you attacked us, General Stone replied. You are warriors. We need warriors. But we need warriors who fight for the right reasons. Vexthal looked around his bridge. His officers were watching him carefully. Some showed fear, others showed curiosity. All of them were waiting for his decision. What guarantee do we have that you will not destroy us once we lower our guard? Vexthal asked. The same guarantee you have always had, General Stone replied. None. But that is what trust means. It means choosing to believe in something better than fear. The bridge fell silent. Outside, human and Zephyrian ships faced each other across the darkness of space. The war that had begun 6 months ago was about to end. But whether it would end in destruction or cooperation was still unknown. Vexthal closed his eyes and made his choice. 2 weeks had passed since Commander Vexthal made his choice. The Zephyrian fleet had not surrendered, but they had agreed to a ceasefire. Now, human and alien ships traveled together toward the edge of the solar system. Admiral Kate Ross stood on the bridge of the first human interstellar vessel. The ship was called New Horizon, and it represented everything humanity had learned from studying Zephyrian technology. Human engineering combined with alien systems to create something neither species could have built alone. Admiral, her communications officer called out, we are receiving a priority message from Zephyrian High Command. The main screen flickered to life. Supreme Commander Thekvar appeared, his massive form filling the display. He was the highest ranking Zephyrian in the galaxy, a warrior who had conquered 100 worlds. What is the meaning of this? Thekvar demanded. Commander Vexthal reports that you have formed an alliance with these primitives. This is unacceptable. Admiral Ross stepped forward. She was a small woman compared to the alien commander, but her voice carried absolute authority. Supreme Commander, we need to talk. There is nothing to discuss, Thekvar replied. Commander Vexthal has been compromised. I am sending a fleet to destroy both his ships and yours. That would be a mistake, Admiral Ross said calmly. Are you threatening me? Thekvar asked. No, Admiral Ross replied. I am warning you. You do not understand what you are dealing with. The screen changed to show a star map of the galaxy. Red dots marked Zephyrian worlds, while blue dots showed human colonies. But there were also green dots scattered throughout the map. What are those? Thekvar asked. Those are the other species in the galaxy, Admiral Ross explained. The ones you have been ignoring while you focused on conquering us. Many of them are not happy with Zephyrian expansion. Dr. Ben Carter appeared on the screen next to Admiral Ross. He was a scientist who had been working with captured alien technology. Supreme Commander, while you have been fighting us, we have been talking to your neighbors. Impossible, Thikvar said. These species do not have interstellar communication. They do now, Dr. Carter replied. We have been sharing our technology with them. In exchange, they have been sharing information about your military capabilities. The star map changed again. This time it showed ship movements across the galaxy. Dozens of species were moving their fleets towards Zephyrian space. You have united them against us, Thekvar accused. We have united them for peace, Admiral Ross corrected. But you are right about one thing. They are moving against you. Unless you stop your expansion, they will stop it for you. Supreme Commander Thekvar's expression changed. For the first time, he looked uncertain. What do you want? We want to prevent a galactic war, Admiral Ross replied. We want to find a way for all species to coexist peacefully. Why should we trust you? Thekvar asked. Because, Admiral Ross said, we are giving you a choice. You can work with us, or you can face the rest of the galaxy alone. The communication ended. Admiral Ross turned to her bridge crew. Lieutenant Sophia Davis, what is the status of our intelligence operation? Lieutenant Davis was a young officer who had been working undercover in Zephyrian space. Admiral, we have successfully infiltrated their communication networks. We know the location of their main fleet and their supply lines. Good, Admiral Ross said. And the diplomatic front? We have established formal relations with 17 species, Davis reported. They are all willing to work with us against Zephyrian aggression. Commander Vextel, who had been standing quietly in the corner, stepped forward. Admiral, I must ask you something. Why are you helping us? We attacked your world without provocation. Admiral Ross looked at him thoughtfully. Commander, let me ask you a question. Why did you attack us? Because, Vextel said slowly, the High Command told us you were a threat to galactic stability. And why did they believe that? Admiral Ross asked. Vextel thought for a moment. Because humans were expanding rapidly. Because your technology was advancing quickly. Because you were different from other species they had encountered. Exactly, Admiral Ross said. They were afraid of us. Fear makes people do terrible things. But fear can also be overcome. Dr. Crindle, who had been observing the conversation, made a note on her datapad. Admiral, I have been studying human psychology for months. I still do not understand how your species thinks. What confuses you? Admiral Ross asked. You have the power to destroy us, Crindle said. Your technology is advancing beyond ours. Your military tactics are superior. Your ability to form alliances is unprecedented. But instead of using this power to conquer, you use it to protect. That is what makes us human, Admiral Ross replied. We learned long ago that the strongest way to protect ourselves is to protect others. The conversation was interrupted by an urgent alert. Admiral, the sensor operator called out. We have multiple contacts approaching. It looks like the Zephyrian reinforcement fleet. The main screen showed space filled with alien warships. There were hundreds of them, more than enough to destroy both the human and Zephyrian forces. Supreme Commander Thekvar is keeping his word, Vextel said grimly. He is here to destroy us all. Admiral Ross studied the tactical display. The Zephyrian fleet was massive, but something was wrong with their formation. They are not moving to attack, she observed. They are just sitting there. Incoming communication, the communications officer reported. Supreme Commander Thekvar appeared on the screen again. But this time he looked different. His confident expression was gone, replaced by something that looked almost like fear. Admiral, "Ross," he said, "we need to talk immediately. What has changed?" Admiral Ross asked. "Everything," Vekvar replied. "1 hour ago, we received reports from our border worlds. They are under attack." "By whom?" Admiral Ross asked, though she suspected she already knew the answer. "Unknown species," Vekvar said. "They came from outside the galaxy. Their technology is unlike anything we have seen. They are not trying to conquer our worlds. They are trying to destroy them completely." Dr. Carter stepped forward. "Supreme Commander, we have been detecting strange signals from intergalactic space for several months. We believe these invaders have been watching our galaxy for some time. Why did they choose now to attack?" Vekvar asked. "Because," Admiral Ross said quietly, "they were waiting for us to weaken ourselves with internal wars. They wanted us divided so we would be easier to destroy." The implications of this hit everyone on the bridge at the same time. The war between humans and Zephyrians had been exactly what the invaders wanted. While the two species fought each other, the real enemy had been preparing. "How many ships do they have?" Vexthel asked. "Unknown," Dekvar replied. "Our scouts report thousands, possibly tens of thousands. Their vessels are larger than ours and seem to be powered by technology we do not understand." General Luke Anderson appeared on the communication screen next to Vekvar. He was a human military advisor who had been working with Zephyrian forces. "Admiral," General Anderson said, "I have been studying the enemy tactics. They are not like anything we have encountered before. They do not take prisoners. They do not negotiate. They simply destroy everything in their path." "What are you suggesting?" Admiral Ross asked. "I am suggesting that this is what humans were born for," General Anderson replied. "This is why we evolved on a world where everything tried to kill us. This is why we learned to work together, to adapt, to survive against impossible odds." Supreme Commander Vekvar looked directly at Admiral Ross. "Will you help us?" Admiral Ross was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled, and it was the smile of a predator that had found its prey. "Supreme Commander," she said, "you are about to see what humans are really capable of. But first, you need to understand something about us." "What?" Vekvar asked. "We do not just fight to win," Admiral Ross said. "We fight to ensure that our enemies can never threaten anyone again. When we go to war completely." She turned to her communications officer. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them to activate the Deep Space Defense Protocol. Tell them it is time to show the galaxy what humans have been building in secret." "What is the Deep Space Defense Protocol?" Vexthal asked. Dr. Carter answered. "For the past 50 years, humans have been preparing for the possibility of an alien invasion. We have built hidden bases throughout the galaxy. We have developed weapons that we hoped we would never need to use. We have trained soldiers for a war we prayed would never come." "How many ships do you have?" Vekvar asked. "How many do we need?" Admiral Ross replied. The answer came in the form of sensor readings that made everyone on the bridge stare in disbelief. From hidden bases throughout the galaxy, human ships began to appear. Not dozens or hundreds, but thousands. Ships that had been built in secret, using technology that surpassed anything either humans or Zephyrians had shown before. "Impossible," Vekvar whispered. "Your species has only had interstellar travel for a few months." "Has it?" Admiral Ross asked. "Or have we simply been hiding our true capabilities until we needed them?" Lieutenant Davis stepped forward. "Admiral, all human fleets report ready for Operation Galaxy Shield." "What is Operation Galaxy Shield?" Vexthel asked. "It is the plan we developed for defending the galaxy against external threats," Admiral Ross explained. 6 months had passed since the great battle at the galaxy's edge. The invaders had been defeated, But the cost had been terrible. Entire star systems lay in ruins. Billions of lives had been lost. The galaxy would never be the same. President Chris Murphy stood in the newly built Galactic Council chambers on the space station Unity. The station orbited a neutral star between human and Zephyrian space. Representatives from dozens of species filled the Great Hall, all gathered to discuss the future. "The invasion is over," President Murphy announced to the assembled delegates. "The threat from outside our galaxy has been eliminated, but we cannot go back to the way things were before." Elder Counselor Nix Thara, an ancient being whose species had been neutral throughout the war, raised one of her forearms. "President Murphy, the Council recognizes that humanity played the crucial role in our defense. But many of us are concerned about what comes next. What concerns you?" President Murphy asked. "Power," Nix Thara replied simply. "Humanity now possesses the most advanced technology in the galaxy. Your ships patrol our space. Your soldiers train our military forces. Some of us wonder if you have simply replaced one conqueror with another." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. President Murphy had expected this question. It was the same fear that had led to the original conflict with the Zephyrians. "I understand your concerns," President Murphy said. "Let me address them directly." He gestured to a section of the chamber where former Zephyrian officers sat alongside human advisors. Supreme Commander Thekvar was among them, but he no longer held his old rank. Instead, he served as a military counselor in the new Galactic Defense Force. "6 months ago, the Zephyrian Confederation was our enemy," President Murphy continued. "Today, former Zephyrian officers command some of our most important defense positions. War Leader Grixtal leads the 4th Fleet. Commander Vextal heads our intelligence division. They are not our prisoners. They are our partners." Ambassador Sarah Kim stood up from the human delegation. She was young for such an important position, but she had proven herself during the crisis. "If I may, President Murphy, I would like the Council to hear from someone who has worked closely with humans." She nodded to a figure in the Zephyrian section. Commander Vextal rose and walked to the center of the chamber. His golden eyes swept across the assembled delegates. "Honorable representatives," Vextal began, "6 months ago, I believed humans were weak and primitive. I led the attack on their worlds, confident that we would achieve easy victory." He paused, his expression thoughtful. "I was wrong about everything. Humans are not weak. They are not primitive. They are the most dangerous species I have ever encountered, but not in the way I expected." "Explain," Elder Counselor Nix Thara requested. "They are dangerous because they refuse to accept defeat," Vextal said. "They are dangerous because they turn enemies into allies. They are dangerous because they will sacrifice everything to protect others." He looked directly at President Murphy. "When the invasion began, humans could have focused on defending only their own worlds. Instead, they defended all of us. They risked their lives for species they had never met. They fought not for conquest, but for survival of all life in the galaxy." A delegate from the Altarian Republic stood up. "But what guarantee do we have that humans will not change? What if they decide to use their power for conquest?" President Murphy smiled. "Delegate Morgan, let me tell you about human history. For thousands of years, we fought wars among ourselves. We built weapons capable of destroying our own planet. We came closer to extinction than any species should ever come. And yet you survived," Morgan observed. "We survived because we learned," President Murphy replied. "We learned that the strongest nations are those that protect the weak. We learned that the most secure borders are those that neighbors respect. We learned that the best defense is helping others defend themselves." General Luke Anderson stepped forward. He now served as the commanding officer of the Galactic Defense Force, with representatives from every member species serving under him. If I may, General Anderson said, I would like to share some information about our current military structure. The holographic display in the center of the chamber came to life. It showed the disposition of forces throughout the galaxy. The Galactic Defense Force currently operates 1,500 ships, General Anderson reported. Of these, only 30% are crewed primarily by humans. The rest are joint operations with officers and crew from multiple species. What is the purpose of this integration? Asked a delegate from the Centauri Alliance. 2 purposes, General Anderson replied. First, it ensures that no single species controls too much military power. Second, it allows us to learn from each other. Zephyrian engineering, Altarian sensors, Centauri navigation, human tactics. Together we are stronger than any of us could be alone. Elder Counselor Nixthara leaned forward in her seat. General, what is humanity's long-term plan for the galaxy? General. Anderson looked to President Murphy, who nodded for him to continue. Our plan is simple, General Anderson said. We want to go home. Surprised murmurs filled the chamber. This was not the answer anyone had expected. Explain, Nixthara requested. Humans are explorers by nature, General Anderson said. We want to see what lies beyond our galaxy. We want to discover new worlds, new species, new possibilities. But we cannot do that while the galaxy remains threatened. President Murphy took over. Our goal is to create a galactic community that can defend itself without our constant presence. We want to build institutions, share technology, and train forces, so that every species can contribute to our common defense. And if we refuse? Asked Delegate Morken. Then we will respect your decision, President Murphy replied. But we will also remember it if you need help in the future. The chamber fell silent. This was not the response of a conquering power. This was something different. Ambassador Sarakim stepped forward again. If the Council will permit, I would like to make a formal proposal. The Council recognizes Ambassador Kim, Elder Counselor Nixthara said. I propose the establishment of the Galactic Cooperative, Sarah said. A voluntary association of species committed to mutual defense, shared prosperity, and peaceful exploration. She activated the holographic display again. This time it showed a different kind of map. Instead of military positions, it showed trade routes, research stations, and communication networks. The cooperative would operate on 3 principles, Sarah continued. First, voluntary membership. No species would be forced to join. Second, mutual aid. Members would help each other in times of crisis. Third, shared knowledge. Scientific and technological advances would benefit all members. What about military forces? Asked Supreme Commander Thekvar. Each member species would maintain its own defenses, Sarah replied. But we would also maintain a joint rapid response force for galaxy-wide threats. Who would command this force? Delegate Morken asked. No one, Sarah said. And everyone. Command would rotate among member species, based on the nature of each crisis. The species best equipped to handle a particular threat would take the lead. The delegates began talking among themselves. Some seemed interested in the proposal. Others appeared skeptical. Elder Counselor Nixthara called for order. The Council will consider this proposal. But first, we have one more question for the human delegation. Yes, President Murphy asked. Why should we trust you? Nixthara asked. You have the power to impose your will on all of us. Why should we believe you will honor these voluntary agreements? President Murphy was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled, and it was the smile of someone who had found exactly the right words. Because, he said, we are human. We are the species that survived by learning to work together. We are the species that chooses cooperation over conquest. We are the species that believes the galaxy is big enough for all of us. He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of delegates from dozens of worlds. But most importantly, he continued, we are the species that knows the difference between being feared and being respected. We would rather have friends than subjects. We would rather have partners than servants. We would rather have a galaxy that chooses to work with us and one that is forced to obey us. The vote was held 3 hours later. The Galactic Cooperative was established by an overwhelming majority. 57 species chose to join immediately. Others promised to consider membership in the future. As the delegates filed out of the chamber, Commander Vexthil approached President Murphy. President, Vexthil said, I have a question. What is it, Commander? When we first met, you were just another species to be conquered. Now you lead a galactic alliance. How did this happen? President Murphy thought about the question. Commander, humans have a saying, the best way to defeat your enemies is to make them your friends. But I think there is a better way to say it. What is that? The best way to make friends is to be worthy of friendship. Vexthil nodded slowly. I am beginning to understand why humans are so dangerous. Oh? President Murphy asked. Yes, Vexthil replied. You are dangerous because you make it impossible to hate you. As the lights dimmed in the council chamber, President Murphy looked out through the great viewport at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, human ships were